Did you hear that?
Such haunting nightmares from past loves that tried to screw me. But you were the preacher in an exorcism movie, my love.
There's no kick, no snare, no musical structure to ground this song. We happen upon our first song as you would a haunted house. Both appear floaty, eerie, voices echoing off of one another. Bellion houses his ideas in an extended metaphor, wherein his past relationships haunt him. Reliving the past is as spectating a horror movie is. We know what danger lurks around the corner, but we are powerless to intervene.
You took my hand and walked me into my dark attic. That's where my heart was lost and frozen in a casket, my love. My soul was mummified, you helped me to unwrap it. It's you I'm gonna call. The ghosts of my exes, they cry, oh, oh.
While the first verse of A Haunted House suggests that Bellion's exes are the main culprit for his woes, casting oneself as a victim and not as an accomplice is an act of revisionist history. My generation talks about a body count as if it's a point of pride and not a dehumanizing act, as if reducing a romantic interest to their bodily parts is reserved for anyone other than a B-movie slasher villain. And so we find Bellion in the sort of sleep paralysis, frozen in a casket, mummified. But the final girl, the you that the narrator is referring to, enters the scene, self-actualized, able to wake the narrator from this nightmare. She notices things that Bellion's exes didn't. Doesn't have to, but she takes stake in his past. If we consider a mummy's wrapping a maladaptive behavior, the final girl helps Bellion learn to use his linen strips to heal instead of to preserve death. He writes, "You took my hand and walked me into my dark attic." Syntactically speaking, the final girl is the one who's performing the actions, not the narrator. He goes on to say, "My heart was lost, my soul was mummified, and you helped me to unwrap it." If the racking up of a body count is the reducing of someone to physicality, the final girl works just the opposite. Notice how the verse begins with physicality. She grabs Bellion's hand, but then progresses to his heart and finally his soul. What could be more romantic than that?
The ghosts of my exes, they cry, oh, oh. They know that it's their time to go, 'cause since you walked on through my door, this ain't a haunted house no more.
Haunted houses, no matter how decrepit, they withstand the test of time because they have good bones and rest on a good foundation.
Sleep on me, feel the rhythm in my chest, just breathe.
We'll join the bones of A Haunted House to the bones of Guillotine, Frankensteining Bellion's discography into a monster mash of sorts, our only connective tissue being the theme. So if stripping A Haunted House to its bare bones was us studying its architecture, then dissecting the rhythmic chop of a guillotine is to understand the anatomy of a love song. The bouncy rhythm that sits at the center of the song functions kind of like a heart rattling around in a ribcage. To feel its pulse is to feel its rigid groove.
Guillotine, even when I lose my head. Guillotine, guillotine, even when I lose my head.
As you just heard, Bellion decentralizes lyrics in this chorus, severing the main idea from its placeholder, not unlike a guillotine forcibly removing a body of its head. The chorus then mutates into this headless abomination where the vocal scatting and bass line form up around the drums, fusing with the song's backbone. We find meaning elsewhere.
There's bones in my closet, but you hang stuff anyway. And if you have nightmares, we'll dance on the bed. I know that you love me, even when I lose my head. Guillotine.
Emanating from Guillotine's pre-chorus is this dark mood. To re-establish our haunted house metaphor, there's this grim aura hovering over top of the foundation of his language. What is Bellion's intent here? What's his motive? every sentence a rune, and every word a piece of evidence, we might inspect Bellion's syntax like we were playing a game of Clue, darting across the board in search of patterns, trying to deduce meaning. Or better yet, and still darting across a board in search of patterns, why not treat Guillotine like a Ouija board and contact Bellion directly in order to divine meaning? First, let's splay out that pre-chorus so that Bellion can help us decode the song. As Bellion guides us through, note how his intonation draws our eyes to specific words, cluing us in on the spirit of the song.
Almost like a dark, sweet love song.
Okay.
Guillotine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Secrets you tell me I'll take to my grave. There's bones in my closet, but you hang stuff anyway. If you have nightmares, we'll dance on the bed. Know that you love me even when I lose my head. Guillotine.
Okay.
Sweet,
Okay.
Tim Burton-esque
Like
situation.
Halloween-y type stuff, yeah. Like hood Halloween kind of stuff. Yeah.
Songs like Guillotine cast a dark and captivating spell, compelling you to sing along, to bob your head. Next thing you know, you're in a trance. It's kind of magic.
You fill me up, you fill me up, you set my soul ablaze. You fill me up, even when I lose my head.
While Halsey will be credited as the artist for Graveyard, digging beneath the surface unearths Bellion's unique identifiers, imprinted all over the body of the song. As with Guillotine, the song's pre-chorus is host to sweet, dark, Tim Burton-esque wordplay, but note how the ideas are placed. For context, rhymes typically come at the end of a line to create predictability, but here, you'll notice that most of the rhymes contort, fitting in unlikely spots. It's not as unpleasant as bones having popped out of place, more that they have found new pockets.
They say I may be making a mistake. I would have followed all the way, no matter how far. I know when you go down all your darkest roads, I would have followed all the way to the graveyard.
Right, so as most written pieces undergo a drafting and editing phase, ideas are killed and reanimated. This misshapen dance that Bellion conducts can only be described as the bones of the song shifting in its skin, lyrics coming back to life and dislodging others. As Bellion is accompanied by other ghostwriters, this internal rhyme feels like the ghostwriters were arguing about what rhymes to use and where to place them, as if the husk of the song had been possessed by multiple spirits, a marionette with conflicting puppeteers, pulling in different directions. We see the words squirming in each line, but we also see the lines squirming in each section. Listen here.
Oh, 'cause I've been digging myself down deeper. I won't stop till I get where you are. I keep running.
Rather uniquely, Graveyard's pre-chorus doesn't come before the chorus. It actually splices itself into the refrain. The effect, déjà vu. We hear twice as many choruses as the typical song would allow for. But within each chorus, Bellion changes just enough to keep us second-guessing what we heard the first time.
Oh, 'cause I keep digging myself down deeper. I won't stop till I get where you are. I keep running when both my feet hurt. I won't stop till I get where you are. Oh, when you go down all your darkest roads, I would have followed all the way to the graveyard. Oh.
Mainstream artists conjure ghostwriters like Bellion because he's mastered music as a medium. How else would he be able to pose as different artists, taking on their likeness in the process? Thus, to name Bellion's genius is to unmask the Scooby-Doo villain for who he is.